Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today, as promised, we're going to do the flower garden tour, which is primarily going to consist of the flower garden, but I do want to point out a few other flowers throughout the garden, and hopefully we have no technical snafus with like audio or any other weird nonsense. I hate when that happens, and sometimes because I'm the only one here recording, I don't catch it until I'm editing, and then I feel terrible and bad that it's because nobody likes bad audio. Either way. Let's take a quick look at what's going on in front of the vegetable garden. So over here in front of the vegetable garden, both on this side and the other side of the gate, I have my Mexican sunflowers. And as you can see, they're doing quite well. They're getting large. They're going to get much larger than this, which again will give me the effect that I wanted last year, that I got last year, but only on one side, is basically a hedge of flowers. So these 4 plants that I have here and the 4 plants I have on the other side will essentially just grow up to about 6 to 8 feet tall and just be awesome displays. They already are pretty awesome. There's many flowers here, as you can see. About all I got to say about that. Let's go take a look at what's going on in front of the house. Okay, so in front of the house here, we have this bed and the other bed. The other bed, it's actually less to talk about than this bed. This bed, I did plant quite a few perennial stuff. Nothing is really blooming dramatically. And I planted a few annuals. Nothing at this point is uber dramatic. I may get another flush of flowers, or I'm hoping to get another flush of flowers closer to the fall. There are a few things here that are growing well. The irises up front, since we've had quite a few heavy rains, they've been doing quite well. And I've got, the hydrangeas back here. That's pretty awesome. They're doing great. I've been spraying with the deer spray to keep the deer off of them. So far so good. Flowering and looking awesome. But I'm hopeful that as the year progresses and then next year, a lot of this stuff really comes to life. There's foxgloves in the bed, and there's daisies and a few other things, and I really hope that next year everything just explodes and this bed really fills out, and whatever gaps there will be, because I'm sure there'll be gaps, I can either put in more perennials or I'll add in annuals such as zinnia. Let's get on to the main flower garden. Although the dahlia bed right here is part of the main flower garden, I'm not going to talk about it today. Again, I think that might be next week, but we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, let's get on with the rest of the flower garden. If you're new to the channel, I'm here on 1.5 acres, and I've been trying to slowly over time subdivide that into separate spaces. So we have the vegetable garden, and this space here is the flower garden. Now, this is not a complete space yet, because I still have 2 legs to do that are off camera. Basically, it's going to be a big rectangle. Big rectangular room. But what I have now is this L shape going along the driveway. And where you guys are, that's the grand walkway. So again, another space that makes up the whole garden. If you've been following with the channel for a while, you're familiar with this space right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the one end, and then we'll just work our way back up towards the entrance over here to the grand walkway, and just discuss some of the flowers, what's looking good, what's not looking good. So there's the street, there's the driveway, and right here at this end of the bed, I had my grape hyacinth. They've all obviously gone over, but I'm hoping that next year it'll be yet even a more spectacular show. Right over here, I have some foxglove. Now I planted those as a test, and so far they've been hanging in there. This spot is in shade most of the day, but towards the later afternoon, anywhere between 2 and 3 o'clock, I think, till 6, 7 o'clock, it's in blazing hot sun. And those foxglove have been hanging in there. Here's some of my snapdragons. Now this was I believe the Tetra mix, and they're looking all right, hanging in there. Hopeful that they come back next year. Let's see. Ooh, here's some of my Leantris, and there's one that's flowering over here. Actually looks like a couple. Let's see if we can get in there. Camera won't focus. Camera's having a hard time focusing on the moving stem. There is a slight breeze today. In front over here, these are Valencia. I can't pronounce the name. I'll put it down on the bottom of the screen. Calla lily, and they are looking nice. I bought these as a late season thing. They were on clearance. I believe it's Longfield Gardens. Yeah, something along those lines. Same thing, I bought these also on clearance. These are Royal Sunset Lilies. And I'm really liking these, really like the color. And I'm glad that I planted these up late because my regular lilies have already gone over. Skipping ahead, we have some Cosmos. Now Cosmos has been funny for me this year because although this batch, this group right here has flowered and is looking good, a lot of the rest of the Cosmos I've had has died, which is really weird. As you guys know, I have a lot of red hot pokers. And in the back here, I have some dark opal basil, and a little bit, it looks like flowered, but not much. A good performer, and believe it or not, both this one and the one in the back are the same. This is Tall Plains Coreopsis. It's been flowering, looking really good. And when it goes to seed, I'll cut it back and hopefully get another flush before the fall. Speaking of cutting back, these are my regular these are my other snapdragons. These are Rocket Orchid snapdragons, and they came up during the springtime. They flowered, they were looking great, and they started to peter out. So I cut them all back hard, and now they're coming back and got a bunch of lovely flowers on them. Really looking good. This is Red Summer Salvia, not the biggest salvia, and again maybe it's just because it's its first year, but still alive and blooming. And this is Red Summer Salvia. And I really like it. Now I planted another one called Bonfire. That one totally died out on me this year, so don't know what that's all about. Let's move down the bed here. Ignore a lot of the weeds, and I have a lot of weeding and deadheading and things to do. But here's a better example of the Red Summer Salvia. That's looking really good. And right here, I have Maltese Cross. I don't know if that's in focus. First time I'm planting it, I hope it turns into a perennial. Right up front here, I have several different salvias, May Night and Rose Marvel. Some more Coreopsis, a unknown Cana in the back. I believe it's a Cana, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of the tiger lilies have already gone over. Some of them got nibbled on by a deer, believe it or not. Probably the star of the show right now is this Rudbeckia. And let's see, this is Prairie Sun Rudbeckia. And there's a few of them here, and they're really spectacular, looking good. And right in front of it is Alaska Shasta Daisy. I just deadheaded this probably about a week ago, but it was flush, filled with flowers. Here's a Coreopsis. This one's Ruby Kiss. I have to trim this one back hard, like I did these guys, and they'll reflush soon. In the back, I have a smaller Snapdragon, Speedy Sonnet. That one's doing okay. Over here, I have another Lemon Gem Marigold, and they're getting to the end of their lives. They don't seem to go throughout the year. At least the ones in the raised bed that I have in the veg garden haven't lasted that long. This one seems to be going over as well. Right in front of it, and I kind of planted this by accident, is Oxeye Sunflower or Oxeye Sunflower Daisy, something along those lines. But as you can see, spectacular, big, beautiful yellow flowers. Sadly, a lot of the gladiolus, or all the gladiolus, have gone over. And as I've stated before, I'm collecting the seeds and hope to grow more of my own. Pineapple lily sort of flopped over, but it tends to do it this time of year. But behind it, I have, I believe that's, I think it's like White Swan Echinacea. So lovely big white flowers. I'm not sure what kind of dahlia that is. That might be Winky Kernel. Not sure, but it needs to be deadheaded, but been doing well this year, doing well, putting up a lot of blooms. Surprisingly, a few mums have turned around and flowered. Very strange, but I'll take it. I only thought that mums flowered in the fall. That shows you what I know. In the back here, I have an Agastache, and it has been going all summer long. The bees have been loving it. They can't get enough of it. And I kind of want to cut it back to let it reflush before the fall, but I also don't want to lose a lot of this, a lot of the flowers. The bees again are really enjoying it. It does appear to be some new growth down here, so I'm hopefully maybe they'll get some new shoots. And right here is another Coreopsis. I have no idea what the name of this one is, but lots of little yellow flowers. Nice little ground cover right here. Hanging out behind the gladiolus that still need to be deadheaded. I do have a few flowers on the gladiolus. You can see the red ones there. And then I got these pink ones here. But the purple behind there is verbena. And finally got that to grow very nicely. And even have it growing along the entrance to the flower garden here. And the plan is to hopefully keep it kind of like a hedge. You know, just when you come in on this side and the side with the dahlias, they'll just be these big, beautiful verbena doing their thing. And again, the pollinators love them. So that's really about it for the flower garden right now. Again, we're pretty much midsummer. The garden is looking okay. I have a lot of plants that have survived and are making it. Maybe they're not all flowering. Sadly, the gladiolus have gone over. But as I expand, hopefully this fall, the flower garden into next year, then I can plant many more gladiolus and I'll stagger them throughout. So if these guys are popping in the spring, then I'll have another batch that I'll plant out a little closer to summer, so that again maybe they last throughout the summer, because they stay for about 2 to 3 weeks typically. The Mexican sunflowers are growing. Most of the stuff in front of the house is still alive, although it hasn't filled out the way I would have hoped. There's always next year. And the flower garden is doing quite nicely, although some things are going over, and part of that is again due to the heat. I'm in growing zone 8A. It is probably about 88 degrees right now with about 50 to 60% humidity. It's pretty hot. So a lot of these plants do thrive in the heat, but some of these plants don't do so hot in the heat, as it were. And it's just a matter of keeping them watered and tending to them. And right now, if I start like if I start cutting back hard, some of these flowers like the Coreopsis, maybe the Agastache, I'm not brave enough really to do that right now, but but if I cut some of them back now, then hopefully by the late summer, early autumn, I get another big flush of color. So I'm thinking that hopefully, if all goes well, we'll do a fall flower tour, and maybe, hopefully, cross my fingers and toes, that a lot more of this stuff will be blooming at that point because it'll have reflushed. And then I'll walk you through the garden, and hopefully it'll be a much more spectacular show. So next week I think we'll do the dahlia garden tour. Again, it's one bed. It's 8 feet deep by 8, 16, 24 feet. So it's not the largest bed, but dahlias have been doing really well this year. So I will do a separate tour on that and talk about the different types of dahlias that I have, instead of just doing a broad sweep, which I've done in the last couple of videos. I think I've done just do sort of these broad sweeps. I'll get specific about each of the varieties that I have. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. If there's something you guys want to see in my garden, or curious, or you have a question, please leave those comments below. Oh, I forgot to get somebody. Hold on. It wouldn't be a video without Sophie here. So she is getting bigger every day. I don't know if you guys can tell. Look at that cute pup. What a cute pup. Oh. If you don't follow me on Instagram, give a follow on Instagram. I often post pictures of a lot of these flowers, especially when they're blooming, obviously, on Instagram. If you don't want to sign up for another social media thing, I totally get it. Head over to growinggreenfinger.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and there I have all my Instagram photos mirrored, so you don't have to sign up for Instagram. You just go there and look at them there. And I think that's about it. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video. And for me and Sophie here, say hello to the people on the internet. You're supposed to say hello. You're supposed to look at the camera. Look at the camera. Oh, there you go. Look at the camera. Oh. We're going to get back in the air conditioning. We're going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.